Hello, welcome to Middle East in Depth, part of Levant TV's Press Reviews. An article written by Ben Hubbard and Mayy Sheikh discusses how Saudi Arabia is obsessed with Iran. In the article begins by stating how Saudi documents were recently released by WikiLeaks, displaying much detail of how the government's goal in recent years was not just to spread a strict version of Sunni Islam, but also to undermine Shiite Iran. Hubbard and Sheikh mentioned that the documents from Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry illustrate a near obsession with Iran. And with diplomats monitoring Iranian activities in minute detail and top government agencies plotting moves to limit the spread of Shiite Islam, the scope of this global oil-funded operation helps explain the kingdom's alarm at the deal. Saudi leaders worry that relief from sanctions will give Iran more money to strengthen its militant proxies. The article reveals that at times the king got involved, ordering an Iranian television station off the air. Usama Hassan, a senior researcher in Islamic studies at the Quilliam Foundation in London, said, "We are talking about thousands and thousands of activists, organizations and preachers who are in the Saudi sphere of influence because they are directly or indirectly funded by them." The Saudi government found the leaks deeply embarrassing and has told its citizens that spreading them is a crime. While it has acknowledged a link between the documents and an electronic attack on the foreign ministry, the New York Times said some of the documents are fabricated, but many of them contain correct names and telephone numbers, and a number of individuals and associations named in them verified their contents when reached by reporters. Other cables detailed worries that Iran sought to turn Tajikistan into a center to export its religious revolution and to spread its ideology in the region's countries. The Saudi ambassador in Tajikistan suggested that Tajik officials could restrict Iranian support if other sources of financial support become available, especially from the Saudi kingdom. And moving on now to The Hill, former Ambassador James Jeffrey writes an article explaining how to assess the Iran deal and what to do about it. The writer believes that the step number one is assessing the matter is to evaluate the agreement, which has long been anticipated, and which is flawed as it accepts that Iran will be able to produce fissile material, but in return, it limits Iran's operational centrifuges by type and number and enrich uranium by amount and grade for varying periods of time, the most relevant being the first 10 years. The article carries on discussing that the agreement must sink or swim on the basis of this 1-year breakout time over a 10-year period standard, which the US administration has itself advocated and argued it must have. Given that the administration abandoned true arms control in their negotiations with Iran, a major concession to an undeserving Iran, it's vital that the administration meets its own flawed but acceptable standard. Likewise, the inspection regime must be serious and generate confidence. The article continues saying the US could keep the UN sanctions in place even without an agreement, but there is no guarantee the Obama administration would do so, where the EU sanctions require unanimity, but here the only real hardliner against Iran is France. US sanctions, of course, would remain, but with no assurance that the international community would continue to adhere to them in what is ultimately, despite US law, a quote, voluntary act. For more updates, please visit Levant.tv. Or subscribe to Middle East in Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.